Oh, yes. And Bootsy barked at the exact same time that we started the show. He must be fired up for Ask Weezy today. Thank you guys for showing up tonight. I'm ready to answer any questions that you might have about this UFC Austin card from a stats perspective, from a betting perspective, from a numbers perspective. I've got my matchup template on the screen here. I've got my prop template on the screen. I can even bring up my, let me see. Or wait. Yeah. 21 UFC. There it is. Yeah. Bring up the database too, just in case. Just in case we need to compare statistics within a division against each other. But yeah, what are you guys up to tonight? How's everybody doing? I was just watching the Club and Sub podcast. My guy Luke Betcha was there with Lags and Luke chopping it up. Was just checking that out. Was checking out my guys Santino DeFranco and Brandon Olivas on their podcast earlier today. I always like to watch what everybody else thinks after I'm done doing my shows. So kind of gets me an idea of what the other sharps are thinking and which ways they're going in. And this kind of usually is the point of the week where I start attacking the props that stick out the most. While I already have a couple of tracked bets, I don't have much tracked action so far. And I do have a greasy 4-leg parlay that I gave out yesterday on Just the Tip that I like quite a bit. But as I look at that a lot more now, I'm thinking I'm going to add those bets as tracked bets as well, just not as a 4-leg parlay, because I do like all of them. And, I get a chance to look at the prop template, usually about a week before you guys do. So I always have an idea of which fights, I'm going to be looking to snipe the over or under on. And, if there's 1.5s or 2.5s that stick out a little bit better than the fight goes or the fight doesn't go from a value perspective, just based on my read of the fight. So, this is that point in the week where the rubber meets the road, where we get our bets in, and those bets, if we think about them enough, and if we, consider both sides and we consider where the market is and what kind of value you're getting, that's how we, on the long term, will be profitable gamblers. So let's get into it, you guys. Let's see what you people are doing in the chat, you beautiful people. My guy Brandon in here, the first one in the room, saying, setting my alarm for the best Wednesday night podcast. Dude, I had to set my alarm too, because I was done with the DraftKings show earlier today that we did on Pub Sports Radio. And what I did was I was like, I got to take a nap, but I got to set an alarm so I can wake up for the Club and Sub. So I set the alarm for 9 o'clock. Watched up the Club and Sub, and now here I am. So thanks for joining us, Brandon. We got my guy Jazz in here saying, which fight has greasy Texas split decision written all over it? Cerrone Lozon ain't going to this. So I've got this one right now. This little sheet 2 right here is my DraftKings sheet that I'm going to start adding to the to the sheet that I give out for free. And it's a bunch of great information on DraftKings stuff here. If I zoom in on it, I can show you what we're doing here. What I do is I just have all the names, the stats, work rate per minute, and that's the amount of points that people score in DraftKings per minute without the win bonuses included. So it just tells you while they're in the cage, how busy are they? And it gets you an idea, of what fights might be a little bit higher scoring than others. And then I've got that broken down by striking work rate. So you see here, Calvin Kattar's 2.8 per minute. And the striking points that he's scoring are 2.52 per minute. And the grappling that he's scoring is 0.28. You add that up, you get 2.8. So we also know the percentage that he scores from striking and the percentage that he scores from grappling and the amount of points he's scoring per fight. We have that for offense and defense. And then we've got the work rate of his fights total, which is basically his work rate plus the work rate of his opponent. So 3.2 plus 2.8. So it kind of gets you an idea of, when you see all the numbers next to each other, who's in higher value fights, who's in lower value fights. And then we could do the points per fight as well. And then I've got all the money lines in here. The fight doesn't go to decision line, the money line, the inside the distance, first round props. So you can kind of see, how, if you're a multi-entry guy, there's some good stats in there. And I'm going to start adding that to the sheet every week. That'll be uploaded to the sheet here shortly. So greasy Texas split decision. I could see. Well, let's look for some of the fights that we think are going to go to decision. I think Giannis Kelly could be a close split decision. I think Ricardo Ramos versus Chavez could also be a close split decision. So there's a few of them. Even McGee Wells, if it goes the full distance, could get really greasy. But yeah, there's a few that could certainly do that. And we always got to be careful with those Texas judges, don't we? We got JPZY is in the room saying, "Oi, my boys, Weezy, what do you think? Two-leg parlay, Adrian Giannis money line and Kevin Holland money line. What's your opinion? Let's stack them and eat." I think the line on Giannis is a little wide, to be honest, but I do think that if Tony Kelly stands in front of Giannis and just makes this a kickboxing match, that Giannis should cruise and win a decision here. However, if Kelly, if he wants to put Giannis in places that we haven't seen him yet in the UFC cage, he can make this a very, very greasy, very close fight. And we saw him bring a really nice game plan in that Randy Costa fight, because Costa is such a talented kicker, and he's always mixing up the level of his kicks, the head kicks, and he'll throw that little lazy jab, and then the head kick will come from the same side right behind it and put you out. So, I think Kelly said, "I don't want to get kicked in the head." So he just marched him down. He marched him down, and Costa was successful circling for a little while, but eventually the pressure got to him. Then Kelly got his back up against the cage, wore him out, and then in the second round, when we know that Costa's a guy who gets all of his finishes in the first, Costa was slowing down, and then Kelly started putting it on him, hurt him in the body, finished him. So, if Kelly fights smart, which I don't think anybody really has fought smart yet against Adrian Giannis. This guy's not really facing any takedown attempts. Nobody's trying to put his back up against the cage. And I don't know how much evidence you need that this guy's boxing is incredibly smooth, really tight. He's not throwing dumb techniques that are low percentage and take a lot of energy. He works behind his jab. His cross comes straight down the middle. He throws low leg kicks. He's very good defensively, keeps a high guard. And if you just want to stand and trade with a guy like that, who's technically better, who's more fundamentally sound, and whose punches go straight to the target and are faster, you're going to lose decisions or you're going to get knocked out, because Giannis is showing a ton of power too. So I guess it depends on how you see the fight going. If you think Kelly's going to be wrestling and putting his back up against the cage, I wouldn't be parlaying Giannis. The guys I'd parlay this week are Kevin Holland, potentially Calvin Kattar, I think is a good money line parlay piece. If Demiris Magulov looks good on the scale, I would be okay with parlaying him. And Phil Hawes. I think Phil Hawes gets the job done here pretty easily, but I am worried about that Giannis fight, and I think that line is entirely too wide. My guy Mushroom in the room saying, "Oi, yes. Good evening, Uncle Weezy. Hope all is well, sir. Fuck yeah, it's Weez Day already. One more sleep until probability. 3 more sleeps until violence." You got that right, man. And it's tomorrow. I'm doing best bet with Brady 1 hour before probability, because my guy DFS by the numbers is going to the fights in Austin, Texas this weekend. So he wants to get best bet out of the way so that he doesn't have to do content from down there, except for Stat Diggers on Sunday, of course. But so I'm going to be doing best bet with him on DFS by the numbers channel 1 hour before probability. And then we're going to do probability. And then I'll be done until Saturday's fights. So I'll start getting ready for next week, start taping some of next week's fights, finalize my bets and my DFS lineups, and get ready to rock, stack cash tickets like flapjacks, make some money. So I am right there with you, Mushroom. Thanks for hanging out, brother. Always good to see you in here. David Nettle is saying, how do you look at things when a fighter misses weight? Do you normally stick with your original placed wager, or do you adjust it and go with the other fighter? How much of a weight miss is too much? So usually, like for instance, this week's fights, Demiris Magulov missed weight badly in his Mustafayev fight. And he missed so badly that the fight wound up being called off. So when you have situations where a fighter's moving down a weight class where we haven't seen them in a while, where they missed weight last time, that'll be something where I'm waiting until the weigh-ins to bet. If the bet's already in, and and it looks like somebody's had a really bad weight cut, I try not to change my opinion, because these guys have been cutting weight their entire lives. And sometimes it looks really nasty. And sometimes they look like shit. But, other times, they wind up looking great the next day. I can think of a few examples where somebody just looked like absolute trash on the scale and then came out the next day and just absolutely shaved ass. I can remember Sajara Eubanks on The Ultimate Fighter some years back. She was having all these problems making weight. And not only did she make weight, but just barely. She had to cut off her hair to make weight one time, just like a girl did this week on The Ultimate Fighter. And they flashed back to the Eubanks fight. But I remember Eubanks a couple of different times just having these brutal weight cuts. And they would highlight all the details of the weight cut on The Ultimate Fighter. She comes out the next day and she shaves ass. So I really think it's always about the talent of the fighters, the matchup. And if the weight cut was nasty, you probably should have had some kind of indication before you placed the bet that might have been a possibility, because it tends to affect the same fighters over and over again. And if you've got somebody who's been, an 18 fight UFC veteran, and then they miss weight, that oftentimes is a huge red flag. But, some fighters cut way more weight than others. And, you want to wait until the weigh-ins for more information. But after that, I think it's a lot of people who don't know shit about how the human body works out there on Twitter talking about, I didn't like, how this person looked. And, they're all just fucking speculating. And at the end of the day, what matters is where the line is, what you've seen on tape, what their past results are, and where they are in their career. So if you know those things, don't let the weight cuts, don't let missing weight fool you. If an anomaly happens and it's something that you just didn't expect, oftentimes, if you can hedge out at a very small loss, do that and just move on to the next bet. But I usually try not to let narrative stuff affect too much about what I'm betting on. Thank you for checking in, David. Appreciate you. And Monk's in the room saying, ask Weezy, what's up, homie? What's up, chat? What do you see as a line that is way too wide this week? Well, I already talked about Giannis being minus 400. That's an 80% implied probability. He's got to win the fight 9 out of 10 times for you to come out with a small profit betting that money line. So, and look, Tony Kelly is underrated in my opinion. I think the guy's a very, very good kickboxer. He's very live, incredibly durable. So I think that there are some time props that are a little wide this week. For instance, you can get plus money on the fight goes to decision for Giannis Kelly, and neither one of these guys has ever been finished in their career, and they have 5 combined losses between the two of them. So Giannis has got a serious chin on him, and Tony Kelly does too. So, and neither one of these guys grapple much. So, we could definitely see a situation where, it's just a war, a kickboxing match that just goes the distance. But I would say, I kind of feel like Giannis, if Kelly brings any kind of a smart game plan at all, can make this so much greasier than minus 400. What other line might be a little wide here? Well, you know what? It only shows Giannis is minus 300, minus 350 at the worst. I thought he was creeping up on minus 400. It looks like money's coming in on Kelly, and I think rightfully so at this line. I don't think Giannis is that much better than him. I think that Ricardo Ramos over Chavez at minus 300 is a little bit wide. Am I laying minus 290 on Gloria DePaula? Certainly not. Am I laying minus 265 on Jasmine Jasnavicius? Certainly not. I just don't lay big plus money number or big minus money numbers, on low level women's MMA, and that's what these fights are. Jasmine's a in her 30s and has been doing this for less than 3 years. Natalia Silva, we just don't know much about the level of competition that she's facing. Like the best name there is Joyce Mara is a win. A loss against Marina Rodriguez doesn't tell us that much. Even Stamen at minus 590 is getting a little silly. There's a lot of lines that even Dawkis sitting at minus 290. I don't think he's that much better anywhere than Delizay. I think he's a smarter fighter, but Delizay will be the bigger, stronger dude, and Delizay, doesn't have a problem with a boring fight, and he might just try to hold Kyle up against the cage. So, yeah, there's a lot of spots that I think are a little bit wide, but the ones that I'm willing to parlay, I would be willing to parlay Calvin Kattar. I would be willing to parlay Kevin Holland, and I would be willing to parlay Phil Hawes. But even, I think even parlaying Hawes is a little bit of a stretch, just because he's had some bad performances. But you look at the wins that this guy has. A win over Nasruddin Mavov is a big deal. The Kyle Dawkis win is a very good win. And we've also seen him. He melted Jacob Malkoun in 15 seconds. And Malkoun is just a better conditioned version of what Duran Win is right now. And I thought that, Hawes walked forward, pressured him, got him on his back foot, and he's much bigger, much longer than this dude, and he just melted him. So I do like Hawes. I think Hawes probably wins this inside the distance. I think the second that Duran Win realizes, if this winds up being the case, that he's not going to be able to take down Phil Hawes and hold him down without gassing himself out, I think he's going to fucking quit, because we just haven't seen anything else out of Duran Win. His arms aren't even long enough to choke anybody at this level. So he's got to wrestle and lay and pray. And if he can't, how the fuck does he win a striking match against a guy that's 10 times as powerful as him and has got an 8-inch reach advantage? So, yeah, those are the parlay pieces that I think are good. My guy, Keep It Cool in the room, saying, yes. Oi, have you told us how you got the name Uncle Weezy? Dude, I've been known as Weezy since college, since like the 90s. So it's just a play on my last name. My last name is Luizos. Louise from the Jeffersons was known as Weezy. So Luizos. I became Weezy, and it just stuck. DJ name was Champagne Weezy. And then, I just kind of like would refer to myself as, hey, like in Brady's Discord, and the DFS by the Numbers Discord, I started sharing my stat sheets there. And I'd say like a little gift from your Uncle Weezy, and it just kind of, so people kind of just started calling me that, and I just kind of, rolled with it. So yeah, Uncle Weezy. But, my friends call me Weezy. Like the guys who have known me for like 20 years, like they call me up, they call me Weezy. That's what everybody calls me. So that's how I got that name. Keep it cool. Thanks for asking, man. Dab Father saying, what's up? What's up, Dab Father? Good to see you in here, my man. Kyarik saying, Weezy, I made a parlay with Ulan Bekov, and the fight got canceled 30 minutes later. Yeah, man. Didn't he? Oh, I forgot who dropped out of that fight, but that's a bummer. I hate when that happens, because then you just get stuck with a straight money line bet on something that you wouldn't have normally bet a money line on. So, yeah, that's always frustrating when that happens, Kyarik. Keep It Cool saying, yesterday on your stream, I typed that when I want to lose money, I do a 4 or more leg parlay. But of course, I didn't mean to disparage your greasy 4-leg or anyone's. I just don't have luck for them. Well, like the thing about the greasy 4-leg parlay is I try to make it 10-1. And as any educated gambler should know that, if you're betting something that's 10-1, you should be happy when you hit like 1 out of 9. So as long as you go in with those expectations and you bet accordingly, I think it's a nice, little fun way to put together some things that you wouldn't go out and put a unit on or 2 units on. But that's what I've been doing with the greasy 4-legger. Is like, all right, you know what? I'm not going to put a unit on this, but you know what? That one over there, and that one, they're all better than minus 200. I can put them together in a 4-leg parlay that'll get me 8-1 or better. Put it on FanDuel so that if 3 of the 4 legs cash, I get a free bet the next week that I can make it even wider. I can have even more fun with it. And just, it's I break down all these fights, and even though I find only a few of them are bettable, it doesn't mean that I don't want to have a little bit of action on another fight, where the numbers are funneling me into a read that I like. So yeah, don't worry. You should be disparaging 4-leg parlays, because they're ROI killers really at the end of the day. But every once in a while you're going to hit one and it's a fun story. But that's why I don't track them, and that's why I bet them with just milk money, and it's fun. But the important thing is that, at the end of the day, it's a lot more fun when you win. All right. That's always what's the most fun. Winning is the most fun out of anything in life. So when you win, you're making strong bets and you're betting heavy on things that you feel are mispriced, where your analysis really tells you, hey, this is a smash spot. I got to get in there, So don't worry about it. You can disparage 4-leg parlays and not hurt my feelings. I mean, because I understand, that it is what it is. I understand what the 4-leg parlay is. It's a fun thing to throw milk money on, to put out there on Twitter. And when you hit one, you take a bow. It's great. But thanks for checking in, man. Appreciate you as always. My guy Kyle Hoffman saying, Giannis beats Kelly. Well, I mean, I know Giannis beats Kelly if Kelly stands in front of him and just wants to box. Yeah, I know that for sure. But it's a mixed martial arts fight. And let me just show you guys something. We're going to go over to Giannis's stats. And there are some things that are very telling when you look at a fighter. One of them is this: grappling statistics, right? Adrian Giannis, 5 UFC fights. Adrian Giannis, 0 takedown attempts. And he's defended all 6 takedown attempts against him. So 0 for 6. But it's just as easy to say 100% takedown defense. Yeah, that's as good as it gets. You can't get any better than that. But he's also only faced 1.2 takedown attempts per fight. And Adrian Giannis's fights are taking place at striking range over 96% of the time. So one of the things that I have to be very, very clear about is, what does a fight look like for Adrian Giannis when 33 to 50% of the fight takes place in control time positions for or against? And then if I don't know the answer to that, am I laying minus 300 on him? I mean, eventually somebody with a fucking brain is going to realize that Adrian Giannis is a better kickboxer than most people in the division. And they're going to test the other parts of his game, because this is mixed martial arts. This isn't boxing. So Tony Kelly has only attempted 1 takedown in 3 fights, and he's had 21 attempted against him. But check this out. Tony Kelly, even though his opponents are attempting 21 takedowns for every 1 that Kelly attempts, Kelly's controlling his opponents 18.77% of the time and being controlled 34.73% of the time. So now I've got an opponent in Tony Kelly where I can say that the stats are telling me, here's a guy who's comfortable being in fights that take place in control time positions. Do I know whether Giannis is going to be comfortable there? I don't think so, because he's avoiding grappling positions like the fucking plague. He's accumulated less than 1% control time in 5 UFC fights in 36 minutes of cage time. That tells me that he doesn't want to grapple. So, yeah, if Kelly's dumb and gives Adrian Giannis the fight that he wants, yeah, then I know for a fact Giannis beats Kelly. Is that the fight that Tony Kelly's going to give Adrian Giannis? That's the question. And that's why I think a lot of people are on the dog money right now for Kelly, because it is a wide line, and we have to admit that we don't know what Adrian looks like at the UFC level when somebody's putting his back up against the cage, when somebody's making him wrestle and making those arms fill up with blood. That's going to take some sting and speed off those punches in the second and third rounds. Then we're going to find out how complete Adrian Giannis's game is. But I don't know if Tony Kelly's the guy that does that to him. But I'm just saying somebody's going to at some point. And we got my guy Tristan in the room saying, Weezy, what do you think about Kelly by split majority decision at plus 2,000 for 0.05 units, absolutely, I think. And this is the kind of shit that I'm talking about. Look at what Tristan's saying here. He's not saying he's putting a unit on it. He's not saying he's putting a half unit or even a quarter unit on a 20-1. He's saying 0.05 units, 1/20th of a unit to win 1 unit. That's a responsible bankroll management style bet that we need to be making if we want to be long-term profitable. And you know, plus 2,000 shots are going to come through very rarely. But every once in a while, you're going to find some plus 2,000 spots where if your read on the fight is what I was just talking about here with Tony Kelly, if he makes this a greasy clinch striking battle, go watch the clinch striking exchanges that Tony Kelly has had in his career. How's Adrian going to deal with that? Maybe not well. So split majority decision at plus 2,000 for an appropriate bet size, Tristan, I think it's absolutely magnificent. And I think that this could absolutely be a greasy split decision. And I think that this fight probably goes to decision 60% of the time. So really, 60%, only 1 out of those 12 decisions has to be a split decision in order for you to break even on a long-term bet like that. Because the other 40% of the time, it is going to finish inside the distance, let's say. But those 12 times that it doesn't out of 20, you only need 1 split in order to be profitable. That's a good bet, Tristan. Texas judges, though, we'll see. Well, that's another reason why it could be a clear one. And then Sal D'Amato, the third judge, says, I got it for the other guy. Now it's a split decision. You just need it to be for your guy now. Keep it cool. It's saying to Tristan, personally, I was with Giannis until I realized that Kelly is the drove 24-hour guy who looked great in his last fight. So I can see the judges taking money from a fan favorite. Yeah, and they can. I mean, I guess it depends on where the monies are, you know, where the sports books have their exposure. But yeah, really, I mean, I think there's a lot of street money coming in on Giannis. I think there's a lot of people who don't like Tony Kelly, and then they're betting with their emotions instead of like looking at, you know, the stylistic, you know, components of the fight, which is how a disciplined gambler looks at these things. Prince of Mischief saying, okay, Uncle Weezy, be real with us. Do you think Chicago deep dish pizza is overrated or justified? Road to 2K, here we come. So I used to work at Lou Malnati's. When I went back to college, I wanted a job that I could just show up, do, and not worry about for 1 second outside of work. So, and I am a pizza lover. Oh my God, you know, thin crust, deep dish. I've always loved pizza ever since I was a kid. So I was like, fuck, I'll you know, I got a job delivering at Lou Malnati's. So yeah, man, I think Chicago deep dish pizza is absolutely legit. It should be enjoyed in moderation, but dude, there are, and I mean, I've been in those kitchens at Lou Malnati's, you know, I mean, when I tell you that these dudes are professionals and like they bust their ass and they work hard and they've got a management model that gets super high quality food out of there in a very efficient way. And they really take care of their customers. So yeah, and I'm not just saying that it's like that for Lou Malnati's, because in order to compete in this city, you know, in the pizza business, you got to be damn good at what you do. So everybody that's doing their thing, Gino's East, Lou Malnati's, Uno's, Dewey's, Pequod's, all these places are just making amazing pizzas, and the deep dish pizza in this city is the real deal. Giordano's, it's all fantastic. So yeah, man, I think it is justified. I am biased. I'm a Chicago guy, but man, I think it's amazing stuff. And when I get one delivered or I go pick one up and I look at that and I'm about to take that first bite, I got a big shit-eating grin on my face, man. I'm just smiling. I'm ready to eat, dude. Love some pizza. So I think it's justified. Delizay Dawkis probably goes to decision. Why don't we look at that prop template, Headley one? Let's see what the prop template says, because I agree with you on that, just on how I view the stylistic matchup of this fight. And the reason is that Dawkis has never knocked anybody out in his career. And Roman Delizay, I think people kind of overrate his striking power. He's a grappler, and I always go rewatch that knockout of that bum, the Russian guy. He was 0-4 in the UFC. He would gas out after 3 minutes. Oh, God damn it. Why? why can't I remember that? And now I have to fucking look at it. It started with an I. It wasn't Ismagulov. It was Ibragimov. Hadis Ibragimov. It looked like he didn't even mean to do that, man. I mean, do me a favor. Just go back. If you've got Fight Pass, go watch the Delizay knockout of Ibragimov and tell me that was like a high-level striking knockout. He went to go throw a head kick, and Ibragimov ducked into a takedown, and like he was throwing with his ankle, but the knee is what hit Ibragimov. It was just so clumsy, so unintentional. Long story short, I don't really think Delizay has any real UFC power. I don't think he's going to be knocking anybody out over here. So since Dawkis and Delizay are both high-level black belts, I really do believe that this winds up being kind of like a clinch striking battle. There's probably not going to be a lot of this fight that takes place in the center of the cage at boxing range. And I think that whoever wins the control time positions will win the fight. But I don't see these guys submitting each other. I don't think Kyle Dawkis is ever going to knock anybody out in the UFC. It's really not his style. And I don't think Delizay will ever knock anybody else out at this level unless Khadisi Ibragimov comes back, or they bring back like Daquan Townsend or Trash Car Mazarov or something. So, I agree with that. And then at the prop template level, we can see here that 16 of their 24 combined fights have finished inside the distance, so that's 2/3. But at the UFC level, only 2 of 10. Wow. I mean, you see that red here. Neither one of these guys has ever been finished at the UFC level, and they've both only finished 1 out of 3 wins. And the win for Dawkis was against Jamie Pickett, got it via choke, and the one for Delizay was against Hadisi Ibragimov. And like I said, it was such an accidental, freaky, weird-ass knockout. Didn't even look like it was intentional. So, yeah, if you're looking for a fight goes, you've got 80% of their combined fights have went to decision, and that's in a 10-fight sample size at the UFC level. But fight goes to decision right now is only priced at 51%, and 44% of fights that are going the distance. So we're only overpaying by 6.4% based on the divisional decision rate of 44.82%. But that's not bad, considering that when you go down here to the decision numbers, you'll see that it's only showing 7 out of 10 for some reason. So I don't know if there was a draw in there or something, or a it was the no contest. So only 7 of 10 actually have went to decision, because there was 2 that finished inside the distance, 1 that was in no contest and was a push, and then 7 of 10 have went to decision. So it's calculating it as 80%. That's 28.8%, but really it's 18.8% better than the implied probability of the fight goes to decision line. So thank you, Headley One. That's probably going to be a probability bet right there, because I think that the analytics are screaming that, and I also like the read from just using my eyes and how I think the fight stylistically is going to play out. So fight goes to decision for Dawkis Delizay. Very good look there, and the prop template agrees. Thank you, Headley One. Effie from Any Action Sportscast saying, what would you set the betting line at for Aljo versus TJ? Maybe I would say, God, that'd be really close to a pick'em for me, with Aljo being a slight favorite, probably about minus 130 plus 110. Minus 130 Aljamain Sterling, plus 110 TJ. I mean, I think TJ can absolutely win the striking exchanges there, but if he grapples too much, I think that Aljo is just so special with his ability to be able to not only finish fights with submissions, but also to be able to get on somebody's back and just cause havoc. And I always get terrified. I always hold my breath. Whenever Aljo gets on somebody's back and he gets high on their back, he starts reaching back for that heel. And I mean, those Sulayev stretches will just tear the hamstring right off the bone. It's such a vicious submission. It's such a bad one. And Aljo's so good at getting it. TJ would have to really watch out there, but that's a great stylistic matchup. And I'm looking forward to seeing TJ back. But I mean, right now, I got to be honest with you, dude. I mean, if anybody gets a shot before Peter Yan, it's fucked up, because if we're not going to admit that that was a controversial decision, I think we're bullshitting each other. And then we can go back and look at, the ass shaving that Jan put on him before he made that dumbass knee. So, we got to see Jan Sterling part 3 before we start talking about, TJ coming off a split decision win against Corey Sandhagen, where he didn't do anything but hold him up against the cage. I think there's a lot of really compelling 135-pound matchups that we can figure out who the next title contender is going to be. But god damn, it should be Peter Yan. Keep it cool saying Aljo minus 190, Snakeshaw plus 130. Yeah, well, it'll probably have to be like plus 150 or 160, but in order for it to just have like an 8%, 20 to 10% vig. But yeah, that seems a little bit wide, but I think people would be hammering the Dillashaw side there. But that's a great fight. Keep it cool. That's a great one. My guy Chris Colantis in the room saying, "Oi, what's up, Chris? Good to see you, brother." MMA Code saying, "Oi." Achilles Paris saying, "Oi." Jesse saying, "Oi." You guys are killing me, man. MMA Code saying David Chavez to win by split or majority decision, plus 2,000 on DraftKings. I think it'll be a close fight too. And you know what? I'll tell you this. Those split decision bets, you really need to look at them through the lens of what does the market say the odds are that it's going to go to the decision in the first place? Because that's where you're getting your value, because we all know that the judging is suspect at best at this level. It's suspect. I mean, even though this is the premier mixed martial arts promotion in the world, I mean, we've got guys and ladies that are, a 2 out of 10, in terms of understanding how to score fights. So that's a problem. When you got a fight that you're capping that goes to decision 75% of the time, and you can get a split decision prop like that, you might just want to blind bet it, because you're just saying if it goes to decision 75% of the time, it means that there's 15 decisions in 20 fights, right? Then out of those 15 fights, what do you need to be right to win 1 out of 20? And it tells you, that 1 out of 15 hits and you're plus money. All that has to do is, you just got to be on the right side. But if you think the underdog's live and you think that fight goes to decision, those bets are really cheeky. But like I say, look at what Tristan did earlier. He's talking about 0.05 units. So you got to be very cognizant of your unit size when you're making bets like that, because it is just a very small sliver of the possible outcomes that make up the entirety of the pie. But yeah, I kind of like that one, MMA Code. I think it's a decent look, man. Kelly decision is plus 600. That's probably how this will go. It's better to hold a huge plus money ticket in a close fight, in my opinion. Agree 100%. And I'm right there with you. I bet it. I've got a tracked bet, Tony Kelly, 0.25 units, plus 800. I think it's Kelly's path. I mean, Giannis hasn't been finished. And if you look at Giannis, this dude's taking some square shots from some serious power hitters, and he eats them like a pancake. So I think even if Kelly does just shave this dude's ass, I still don't think he's going to finish him. So I think Kelly's, that line, I don't really know what Kelly's, win equity is other than decision here. I mean, for a guy that's attempted 1 takedown in 3 UFC fights, is he going to go out there and submit Giannis, who will never attempt a takedown probably in the UFC unless he's absolutely hurt and doesn't know where he is? He's like the anti-Jimmy Crute, where Crute needs to get hit in order to attempt a takedown. It's like he you could hit him and he probably wouldn't even attempt a takedown, because that's how focused Giannis is on keeping fights standing, and he's done an amazing job of that. But yeah, I agree with you, Prince of Mischief. That's a bet that I've already made. And my guy, let me see here. Blood Money in the room saying, Weezy, what's up, brother? Blood Money, good to see you in here. I appreciate you all the way down there from the Southern Hemisphere. I believe in the Philippines, right? Or is it Thailand? It's either the Philippines or Thailand for blood money. Good to see you. Keep it cool saying, Weezy, you've lived 100 lives. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how these things work. Is that thing that the Indians, what do they call that? Recreation. I don't know. It was the Shelley. What the hell was her name? Anyway, you live a whole bunch of different lives. Who knows, man? Who knows? I could have lived 10. I could have lived 1. This might be the last. This might be it for me. Who knows? So, Oxygen 3000 saying Silva's last 2 bouts were 5 rounds and she won by sub. Her last bout was a good win by sub in the 4th. This suggests she has good cardio. Yeah. And subs are her win condition. Silva by sub plus 450 sneaky bet. Yeah. Because especially in my opinion, Jazz Davicius is a very good wrestler and she can control positions. But, we got to admit that she used to wrestle, but she's very new to jiu-jitsu. She's only been a mixed martial artist for 3 years. She's only been doing this for 3 years. So how good could that BJJ be? That being said, if you have a wrestling background, it's such a good way to get into BJJ because you already understand how to control people, how to grapple. You already understand, the importance of overhooks and underhooks. These are things that are universal to any kind of grappling, whether it's Greco-Roman wrestling, freestyle or folk wrestling, jiu-jitsu, judo. I mean, any of these things, you have to understand basic body positioning, how to get people off balance, how to keep, how to hold somebody still. One of the tenets of judo is that you can win a match just by pinning somebody's shoulder to the mat for 30 seconds. And the reason that is because the people who, made the rules of the sport said, look, if you can hold somebody down against their will while they're trying horribly to get back up for 30 seconds, then you've already won. You're big brothering this dude, so it's, and from there you can just go to a number of different chokes or submissions as well. But it just goes to show you that anybody, this is MMA, anybody can be live. And, I was watching that Joyce Mara fight, but I think I fell asleep between the 3rd and the 4th round because it was like 3:30 in the morning. Yeah, Silva by sub, I think it's her win condition. And we can see Silva in her 18 professional fights has 58% of her wins by submission. So that's 10 wins by submission. And 78, so 83. Yeah, so it's 10 of 12. So I think it's going to be 8. No, yeah, 7 by submission, 3 by knockout. So yeah, she's definitely live for a submission. Jazz has never been submitted, but she's 8 fights into her pro career. We're going to see. But like I say, right here, 2 years, 10 months is the length of the pro career. That's the time since the pro debut. But Jasmine is an excellent wrestler. And we saw that she could, she was dealing pretty well with the submission attempts of Kay Hansen. And Kay is, Kay's got submissions. Kay's been in there with some really good fighters. So, I kind of think Jasmine gets this done, but I'm not laying that kind of juice on her. I think, if you're going to lay props here, do it on the underdog and take the most likely path to victory, and that would be by sub. So thanks for checking in, Oxygen 3000. We got Prince of Mischief saying, can you show us the FanDuel promo on the website for the greasy four-legger? Sure thing. So let me just log in on another tab here for you guys. And what is happening here? Okay. Sportsbook. And let me see here. So we have to go to promotions and do this. Okay, promotions here. And the funny thing is, sometimes they add it and then they take it out. I know that they've definitely done that a few times. More promotions. Yeah, you know what? Maybe they're not even offering it right now. I know I've opted into this like 3 different times, but I'm not showing it. So I don't know. It's something I've opted into so many times, but they seem to be taking it away arbitrarily. So yeah, that's what's up there. But yeah, I can't find it. So good question there. But yeah, because sometimes those things they just take it away. The Jerry 5th round sub was plus 20,000 up to 40,000 on some bucks. Should have made the Lou bet. Yeah, no doubt, man. We actually called that out as a Lou bet. Jerry by 5th round submission. And, we were just joking. We were trying to find the widest line on the card. I would have never, ever, ever predicted that would have happened. That fight was an all-timer. One of the best fights. It was a pleasure to lose money on that fight betting the under because it was just unbelievable. Keith Offenlock saying, after Giannis' last performance against Grant, I'm sure Kelly sees some Giannis's holes in his game. Yeah, but Grant's a really tough opponent too. Grant's a veteran who's, been around this sport for a very long time. And, he's got a ton of power and he's got a great chin. So he's one of these archetypes that's figured out the best way to fight for his strengths. So that was a very tough matchup. I thought that was a great performance by Giannis because he still in that fight did what he does best, which is Grant's throwing these big wide hooks, right? And what's Giannis doing? He's coming right down the pipe. He's faster to the target. He's crisper. And when you see it over a long period of time, you see that he's throwing these big shots to the ears while Giannis is bloodying up this dude's face, opening up cuts all over his face, and just beating him with that jab. And and a lot of these judges are boxing judges. So when they see somebody like Giannis just working behind that jab, being crisp, not wasting movement, good footwork, good low leg kicks, yeah, I mean, he's very good at what he does. But yeah, there are holes in his game. We got to see how Giannis looks in a clinch battle. We got to see how Giannis looks when he faces 4 takedown attempts in one round. Does he get taken down? Does he wind up with his back up against the fence? Or is he just stuffing them, making them pay for the takedowns and proving over and over again, like he has in the 5 fights thus far in the UFC, that, yeah, man, he's a striker. He can keep it striking, and he's going to be better than you there, and he's got the chin to take what you dish out, and he's got the power to put you on your ass. So, I think Giannis is a special prospect. It always bothers me when I'm laying massive juice, minus 300, on a guy where I haven't seen huge parts of his game. And it's the same thing that made me bet Nick Maximov against Puna Soriano, because I know Soriano wasn't trying to take anybody down. He wasn't grappling at all. And I'm like, what happens? Does this guy's power translate into the 3rd round when he faces 15 takedown attempts in 10 minutes? And turns out, Maximov was able to push that pace for the entire 15 minutes. And did he win the fight? I don't know. I thought Puna won the fight, but you cashed the ticket because you saw somebody take Puna a place that he had never been before. And you wound up paying if you laid that juice. So, yeah, I hear you, man. Logged in just to hit the like and say, rest in peace, Pequods. What? Rest in peace, Pequods? Are they not around anymore? That's what I just had a pizza from there like a month ago. Wow. Dude, I didn't know that. They're weird, though, man. They wouldn't even take cash there. They're fucking weird, but their pizza's great. The decision line looks great. For which fight? Victor saying, "Oh, what's up, Weezy? I've been here, but again, I can't really chat because Bezos doesn't like it when I slap at work." I hear you, Victor. That guy. Mushroom saying, "Uncle Weezy, I already parlayed Kattar, Holland, and Buckley, all inside the distance." All right, so I don't like Buckley. I don't like the Buckley bet, but I like Kattar inside the distance, and I definitely like Holland inside the distance. But 26-23, so 26 to 1, huh? Man, that's fantastic. That's a wide ass line. And if Buckley does win this fight, he's going to win it inside the distance because, you know, I mean, Duraev has been knocked out in all three of his losses. So if Buckley's landing on this dude, he's going to get him out of there. And if Duraev is fucking stupid like he was against Kopylov and just chooses to strike for the first 6 minutes, Kopylov drops him in the second round, and that's when Duraev chooses to start wrestling. So, yeah, if Duraev is a dumbass and chooses not to grapple here early, he's going to be putting himself in serious trouble because that dude, Buckley, swings hammers. Kyle Hoffman saying the only knock on Giannis is his last two fights was he was hit way too often. I think Kelly gets too confident in the pocket because of this, and Giannis gets him with a big shot in the first or second. Well, yeah, dude, Giannis has got serious fucking power. And yes, Kelly's very durable, but would I be surprised if we wound up looking up at the lights? No, you can't be because, Giannis brings that kind of power. And Tony Kelly thus far in the UFC showing 45% striking defense. So like I said, look, Tony has got to fight smart. And Tony's been in control time positions for over 50% of his UFC career. I think he needs to make it that kind of a fight. And if he does, man, I don't think Giannis is going to look minus 300. I think if he stands in front of Adrian Giannis and makes this a kickboxing match, I think Giannis will probably look very close to minus 300, if not better. And we got Blood Money saying Hawes Ramos, my safest parlay on the card, in my opinion. I would say Hawes. The three-legger that I would do, I wonder what Hawes. Well, I know on FanDuel it's garbage, but let's just look. MMA. No. And if I just do Hawes minus 295. Holland minus 310, Kada minus 260s, plus 145. That would be the three-leg parlay that I would do, but still, man, only plus 145 for a three-legger. I don't like it. No thanks, man. Yeah, I've been kind of trying to resist the urge to parlay the shit out of this card because there's so many wide favorites, but I just think, I like Ramos, but I think he should be maybe minus 200, not minus 300. I like Dawkis, but I think he should be like minus 150 here. I like some of these other spots like Giannis. I think Giannis should be minus 225, maybe minus 200, minus 300. It's pushing it, man. The guy's been one-dimensional thus far, and Tony Kelly's a very good kickboxer. So, yeah, it's a great fight, though. There are a lot of great fights on this card. Prince of Mischief saying, what's a double chance bet? The most likely to happen. My thoughts, Holland KO decision or Kattar KO decision. I think a good one is always one that I did last time Kyle Dawkis fight. Take Dawkis by decision or by submission because the guy's never knocked anybody out. I think fight to end by KO in the main event, Kattar against Emmett. If you think that the fight is going to end inside the distance, I think take fight ends by KO. We can find that one. So the fight doesn't go to decision is minus 112. But if we look at method of victory, how fight will end, KO is plus 105. So we're barely getting anything there because I think they're onto it that the fight isn't going to end by submission, but plus 105 would get a little bit of extra there, but it's probably not going to happen. So Kattar KO decision. Yeah, that's a great one. And Holland KO decision. Holland could submit him. Holland's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, and maybe Means won't want to strike with Holland and will put him into grappling positions. Means is a black belt though too. Have we seen Means submitted at the UFC level? I know he's. Yeah, dude, you know what? Means has been submitted. I know he got guillotined by Rodriguez. So Means in his losses is he's been subbed in 3 of his 9 UFC losses, and he's been subbed in 42% of his pro losses. So that's 5 of 12. 5 career losses by submission. So I would say Kattar KO decision would be the better bet. And that's why I think Holland is such a great parlay piece, because I think he can win a decision. I think he can win by knockout, and I think he can win by submission. And my guy Bunk Hoots is in the room saying, "What's up, Uncle Weezy? What's up, Bunk Hoots?" And Daz Files saying, "Good luck at Blood Money MMA bets. Might bet win since he was LOLs when he beat Arroyo." Dude, yeah, I mean, like he wrestled the shit out of Arroyo, that's for sure. Victor De Jesus saying, "Question, on a scale from 1 to 10, how excited are you for Parisian versus Badeau? What a legendary fight. I personally can't wait." Yeah, 10 more days. Yeah, I mean, it's an 11 for me. This amp goes to 11, Victor De Jesus. This is, because it's the heavyweight fights that really have the, like where you're really on the edge of the seat. With Josh Parisian could hit a spinning fat kick at any point. Alan Badeau could land, a calf kick at any point and just end this fight. Spectacular athletic specimens, both of them. This is great, but as a content creator, Vic, I've gotta have that what's right in front of me. So as much as I sit there, rolling around in bed at night going, Parisian versus Badeau, I have to think on UFC Austin. I have to be here. I have to be present in this moment to talk about the UFC Austin card, knowing that as soon as we're done on Saturday night, I get to start planning my 3-hour-long balls deep breakdown on the Parisian Emmett fight that I'm promising you guys on the MMA Engine channel. We're going to go, it might even be like a telethon where we won't even accept donations. It's just, our donation is the UFC giving us this fight to watch. So we do free work for you guys, it's going to be such an awesome fight. Mushroom at Daz Files. What's up, Daz? And Daz saying, "What's up to Mushroom Files? If he makes it out a pullout artist." Oh yeah, dude. We'll see, man. We'll see, because he is a pullout artist for sure. And we got Effie from Any Action Sportscast saying they just announced TJ is getting the shot next in September. Yeah, that's trash for me. I mean, it's complete trash. I'd rather see Corey Sandhagen get it over because at least Sandhagen had a good performance against Jan. But yeah, oh well. Peter Yan shouldn't have kneed Aljo in the face when he was down in the first place, so he's going to have to just work his way back, I guess. Headley One saying, "What early take on Andrade versus Fierro on September 3rd? Straight punches beat looping punches." And I think it's a good matchup for Manon, actually, because Manon, it does such a fantastic job of maintaining distance. But this is going to be the fight where, Jessica Andrade is like a bowling ball, and she will eat 1 or 2 of those kicks in order to get in close on me at Manon. And then we're going to find out how she deals with that low center of gravity that Andrade has, that vicious top game, the grappling. We're going to see. But, Manon is very, very skilled. And I think that the one thing that people really underrate about Manon is how well-rounded she really is. The ground game is there. The wrestling is there. Her wrestling is good. So I'm picking Manon, but I think the size is going to make a difference in this fight. But the experience of Jessica Andrade, the toughness of Jessica Andrade, the grappling, the ground and pound, the strength of schedule, all of these things are something that, Manon is going to have to deal with. And I can't wait for that fight, everyone. Prince of Mischief saying, "With the recent changes in judging and being screwed one too many times, I've decided to no longer put chalk and only bet win conditions and props at plus money. Any advice?" Example, Holly Jalgas. Well, what I've been trying to do a little bit more is work the over-unders and the time props, because, the judges can't affect them. And then you really only have to worry about the game plans of the fighters and then the referee, whether because like I've gotten burned in the Vyacheslav Kisiev fight, where that dude, he just let that fight go on, even though Benoit Saint-Denis was getting destroyed. So, you still have shit to worry about in MMA. Anything can happen. So It's, when you start worrying about the judges too much, you stop thinking about the reads on the fights. So I would continue to just make reads on fights, try to find value in the lines, and wherever that takes you are going to be the bets that'll make you long-term profitable. There's going to be variance in this sport. We're going to have good runs. We're going to have bad runs. They happen. But we always have to be thinking long-term when we make our decisions. And if we do that, I think that is always the best set of rules to gamble by. My guy Charles Barkley in the room saying, E-Money MMA Picks is the dog on the block. I don't know who E-Money MMA Picks is, Charles Barkley, but if the round amount of rebound says so, then it must be true. Nick Sisson saying, there's quite a cast of characters you gathered here tonight, Uncle Weezy, my friend. Yeah, man, it's the best chat going on YouTube, man. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Smash that like and hit subscribe if you haven't already, but I appreciate all you guys that are hanging out here. There are how many of you guys? Why isn't it showing that? 42 of you guys hanging out for Ask Weezy. I appreciate all of you guys, man. And let's see here. We got Jerry or Ice Viking saying, Jerry said in an interview that he celebrated with 1 beer and 2 cigarettes. Good for him. He deserves like 8 beers and like about a carton of cigarettes after that performance, man. Effie, that's awesome. I have a future on TJ to be champ by year's end. Oh, shit. He's not getting backpacked by AJ. Dude, that's probably a wide line. And if he's got the next shot, Ice Viking, that's a great bet. I like it. Dope Space Cowboy saying, careful betting Silva. I thought Now Liang was a solid pick last week for a sub, and it shaved my ass raw. Well, I thought Now was, I actually had Na in my greasy 4-legger, but then I changed it to the under 1.5 in that fight. My big bet in that fight was 3.4 units on the under 2.5 rounds. I got it minus 170. So I knew it was going to be violence one way or another because, you had a striker versus grappler matchup. You had Silvana Gomez Juarez, being very deficient in the grappling, and Now Liang blocking punches with her face, and Silvana with an 80% finish rate in her pro wins. So, man, it's set up for violence, and it played out exactly that way. And also, oi, says Dope Space Cowboy. Thanks for hanging out. Weezy, what is your ass shaving prop bet for this week? So the one that I made early in the week was I went with the Court McGee over 2.5 at minus 140. It was sitting out there at minus 140 on Bet Online was the site that had it. So let's find that fight. It is over here somewhere. There it is, McGee Wells. So the thing about these guys is there's 12 combined losses for Court McGee and Jeremiah Wells as a pro. They've only been finished in one of those 12 losses. Wells has never been finished, and Court McGee has been finished once in 31 professional wins and in 19 UFC fights. So if we see here that their combined fights have only finished inside the distance 5 of 21 times, and 16 of 21 have went to decision. So 76% of their combined UFC fights have went to decision. That's 14.7% better than the implied probability of the fight goes to decision line, and 24.6% better than the divisional decision rate, which is sitting around 52%. So it's a great analytical pick. I think stylistically, Wells is a guy that has a ton of power, but the one thing we don't want to forget is that Wells isn't this like complete killer be killed fighter. 8 of 13 of his combined fights have finished inside the distance. It's only 61%. It's not like he's got 20 fights and 19 of them have finished inside the distance. So I would stay away from a fight goes to decision bet here if I felt that Wells really was a killer be killed fighter, but I don't think that he is. I mean, he's not unable to finish certain regional scene guys. So I don't see him finishing a guy in Court McGee, who's one of the most durable fighters on the face of the planet and who's actually died twice and come back from that. So looking for this fight to go to decision. I also like the line For the Dawkis, Delizay over 2.5 or fight goes to decision. And then for the violence props that I'm on this week, well, I got them early. I got the Cerrone Lozon fight doesn't go to decision at -180, and I got the Jurayev Buckley fight doesn't go to decision at -196. But in terms of value, I like the Giannis Kelly fight goes to decision plus money. I like the over 2.5 even at -180 isn't terrible in the McGee Wells fight. And I like the Delizay Dawkis fight goes to decision at -105. Those would be my favorites, Andrew. Thanks for checking in, brother. We got EB saying Holland, Kattar, Dawkis, Hawes, Parlay. Is this dumb? No, it's not dumb. It's a four-legger. You know, they're not going to hit that often, but I like all those guys to win. I think the closest fight is Dawkis, but Delizay does not inspire confidence for me. I don't think he's this dangerous dude, and I think Dawkis is the kind of guy who's good in the right spots to where Delizay isn't going to be dangerous. So I think he probably gets this one. Dawkis, that is. Cameron James saying Emmett big underdog. He gets knockdowns often. No, oh dude, he gets crazy knockdowns. Let's look at. I'll show you this here. Go to the advanced stats, and we'll show you Josh Emmett as a featherweight. So, as a featherweight, which is these fights, right? Knockdowns 4, 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1. So it's 11 knockdowns. Do I have my calculator with me? I do not. It's in the other room. But yeah, it's 11 knockdowns on approximately 350 strikes. So it's crazy. It's like almost 3% of the strikes that he lands at the featherweight division result in a knockdown. However, what's very strange about this is that he's had 7 knockdowns that have not resulted in a knockout win. So he's knocking people down, but he's only got 4 knockout wins at the UFC level, despite the fact that he's got 8 wins. So only a 50% finish rate. Knockdowns, yes. Big time power, fight ending power, absolutely. But Calvin Kattar's got stupid durability, and he's a very good boxer. So yes, he's a live underdog. And I think that this fight is very live to finish inside the distance, because I think if there's one featherweight that's got the kind of power to finish Calvin Kattar, it would be Josh Emmett. But I think that Kattar's going to style on this dude. But you got to always watch out for that power. And 11 knockouts or 11 knockdowns in a 7-fight sample size is something you don't see much of or at all in the featherweight division. So good call, Cameron. Immaculaton saying, LOL, Weezy, the bookies got to make money too. Well, yeah, of course they do. Of course they do. Otherwise, why would they just be putting these lines out there? Daz Files saying, have 2 units, Tim Means so far, and plan to bet Duran win. I don't like being on the other side of Daz Files. Yeah, I hate this matchup for Win, and I think Means, he gets hurt so much, and I love Holland's durability as a great way to deal with what Means puts out early, and I love the fact that, Phil Hawes is almost as credentialed of a wrestler as Duran Win, but he has other attributes that Win doesn't. For instance, a middleweight frame. For instance, power in his strikes. So yeah, I just don't see Duran Win getting this fight. I mean, he's got to be a better wrestler than his opponent in order to win. And even when he is, like in the Darren Stewart fight, if he can't hold you down, he's going to lose the striking exchanges. So it's definitely, I don't like either of those picks, but Means is the guy who I think has more ways to win here in opposition to Darren Win. But if you're on that Win side, you are basically saying, hey, he's going to out wrestle Phil Hawes. And dude, Darren Wynn can fucking wrestle. So I respect the pick, and I respect wrestling. I understand how wrestling is very important to being able to win minutes in this sport and to be able to keep fights where you're the most comfortable and to make your opponents uncomfortable. And we've seen Wynn use that wrestling in reverse to keep fights on the feet when he didn't want to grapple Spicely and Mearshart. And then when he got guys like Antonio Arroyo and Darren Stewart, who had no grappling at all, he shot like 50 takedowns. So, Wynn's using that wrestling in order to fight smart, and he might have a path against Hawes, but I just don't think I don't think he's a better wrestler than Hawes. That's the problem, and he's lacking everywhere else. Cameron James saying 4 legs, it isn't smart. No, it isn't. It isn't. Anthony Pensero saying, and by the way, ring a ding ding, a $5 donation, first donation of the show here from Anthony saying, been watching you for about a month now, been watching UFC pretty religiously for roughly 2 years. I love the sport and enjoy your commentary. Thank you so much, man. I've never seen you in here, Anthony. You come in, you donate, you bring some kind words for your Uncle Weezy. I really appreciate you, brother. Thanks for hanging out. Thank you so much for the donation, man. And I appreciate that. That makes me feel great. Robot Chicken Wing saying D-Rod. D-Rod is the one who subbed them, yeah, with that guillotine. Tim Means. David Eldon saying, what do you think about that Santos Shevchenko fight? Dude, I was over at a friend's place, so I couldn't buy the pay-per-view. Stream was going out constantly. Saw about 6 minutes of it. I can't comment on it. You're gonna have to go someplace else for commentary on that fight, because I'd just be talking out of my ass. I kept having to refresh fucking screens, and then it was just a pain in the ass. So I wish I could tell you. And by the way, ring a ding ding, a $2 donation. And I don't even have an answer for the question because my stream shut down 4 different fucking times during that fight. I feel like a prick, David, for not being able to answer that question, man. But yeah, I see people talking about it going both ways. And oftentimes when it's a very close fight, you got to beat the champion to be the champion. And, it feels like you got to win 4 clear rounds in order to get that nod to go your way. Except for Carla Esparza, but that fight was dog shit. At least Santos and Shevchenko were going at it when I saw. But I wish I knew. I wish I could tell you that I had an opinion, David, but I wasn't even able to watch the damn thing for more than 6 or 7 minutes. Headley once saying, I feel like Tony Kelly has better striking defense than his overall stats. His defense stats are skewed by body and leg strikes where he's had bad defense. Giannis doesn't go to the body or legs so much. That's very true. And we've got Anthony saying, what's your take on Moreno versus Kai Kara France? That's a great fight. I think Moreno is just a really good boxer. I don't have a lot of faith in his ability to be able to wrestle offensively. And I like Kai Kara France's power. I think that I would be looking, if one of these guys is big plus money, I think I'd be probably looking to bet that side because I think it's a very close fight. But I always like to get those fighter histories side by side, get the matchup stats side by side before I start to, because once it's all on one page, then I know what I'm looking for when I look at the tape, and then I can go from there. But as of right now, just eyeing it, it's 50-50 to me, because Kai Kara France's power is something that we saw Moreno win a ton of minutes in the last performance against Figueiredo, but lose moments, and as a result, lose the fight. But the one thing that I do know is that Brandon Moreno is almost impossible to finish. Cameron James saying Kai on the come up. Yeah, man, he's looking good, man. He's been around for a long time too. He fought Danab Bakkarel in China, I think, a long time ago. He's been all over the world. Anthony's saying he likes Kai. Okay. Yeah, Kai's power is sick, dude. And eventually he's going to catch you with that power. Sean V saying Court McGee ain't beating Jeremiah Wells. Just FYI. Peeps got to stop kidding themselves. Well, I mean, I'm putting my money where my mouth is, Sean. I'm all over Court McGee here, man. I'm betting him by decision. He's in my greasy 4-leg parlay. He's the more experienced guy. He's going to be the way better grappler. He's going to have the way better conditioning. He doesn't do dumb fucking fight IQ shit like do a lap around the cage and then get his toe caught in the cage while he almost runs into a ref. And his opponents, Warley Alves, great fucking win. Blood Diamond, dude, he's not. Sean, let me tell you something. I promise you, Jeremiah Wells will not out-grapple Court McGee. Never. It will never fucking happen. Court McGee is so much better in the grappling than everybody thinks and everybody realizes, but he proves it over and over and over again. Jeremiah's got to knock this dude out, man. And if he doesn't, and if he does, he'll be the second guy to do it in 32 fights. And, you know, and Santiago Ponzinibbio is the only other guy to do it. People who are calling Court McGee washed don't realize that Jeremiah Wells is only 2 years younger than Court McGee. He's 35. He's late to this sport. I'm not kidding myself, brother. I don't think Jeremiah Wells is winning this fight. I think he's going to get fucking killed out there. I think Court McGee's just going to wear him out. Keith Offenlock saying Rodriguez-Marquez fight. Yeah, it's a great fight. I like Marquez, but Rodriguez seems like the obvious go-to spot. I just think Rodriguez is better everywhere, but fucking Marquez is so durable that he's that fighter that you see in your nightmares. Paul Felder talked about it once. I forgot what tape I was watching, but he was saying the nightmare that I had when I would dream about fighting was hitting somebody with my best shots over and over and over again, and they just keep coming forward. That's the nightmare, and that's Julian Marquez. You could hit this dude in the face with a shovel, and he's not going down. So it's an interesting stylistic matchup. I like Rodriguez. I think he wins this fight more times than he doesn't. But I bet the finish only prop at plus 160 on Julian Marquez, just because it was a bet on the durability of Marquez, and Marquez has got a 100% finish rate. So I don't think that Marquez really knows how to win a decision. And that's always, in my opinion, a good barometer of how well-rounded somebody is. Because if somebody's well-rounded and they have great fight IQ, they don't have to finish fights to win fights. They can figure out how to win minutes, how to put their opponent in places where they're uncomfortable and unsuccessful and be able to win fights that way. But Marquez has got a 100% finish rate. He needs to submit you or knock you out to get his hand raised. So, and he's lost all three of his fights that have went to decision, or I think it's two, but he's lost all of his fights that have went to decision. He's lost. So, yeah, when you see things like that, it leads you to believe that Rodriguez is probably going to be the minute winner on the ground. And he's a good boxer, you know, Marquez is too, but it's a very intriguing fight, man. I can't wait for that fight. But I got the Marquez finish only, and I think the Rodriguez decision only prop would be probably a good look as well, but it's going to be juiced. So yeah, that's an interesting fight, man. I agree with you though. I think Rodriguez is the better fighter and wins this fight more times than he doesn't. And Mushroom saying, what's up to Sean? And Effie saying, hell yeah, Ice, I'm rooting for you to cash that bet. And Sean saying, what's up to Mushroom? Anthony Pancero saying, I hope Emmett wins. I like his chances. Yeah, dude, guy with bricks for fists like that is always live. And he's got good wrestling too. He's got good conditioning. He's got a ton of heart. Yeah, Josh Emmett, there's a lot to like right there. And Kattar, there's a lot to like about this. These are two very likable, very fun fighters who always bring action. So I think it's a great main event to what's a great card from top to bottom. My guy Adam Rush saying, oi, what's up, Adam? Josh Benedict saying, Emmett will crack Kattar. Yeah, he probably will, dude. He cracks everybody at some point. Cameron James saying, definitely value your take. Appreciate that. Immaculatan saying, Duran not even going to show. Yeah, he might not, man. He's pulled out of this fight twice already. Josh Benedict saying, Means by decision has value. Means can wrestle, dude. And he doesn't do it a lot, but when he does do it, he's good. And he's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's a veteran. Yeah, man, it might have value. Win is gonna no call, no show. No, I've been making that joke all week that it has Darren Wynn pulled out yet. The dude, I mean, like the scale hurts him more than most fighters do. Because he just has a really fucking hard time making weight, and he shouldn't. You know, it's comical that a 5'6" guy can't make 185 and has to ask for 195-pound catch weights. Dude, his last wrestling match, which is his last tracked bout on Tapology, took place at 213 pounds. This guy doesn't like cutting weight. Holland has looked smarter as of late, and Means is slow. Yeah, dude, that's true. He has looked smarter. He seems to be better with the wrestling defense. It looks like he's taken that part of his game seriously. I think also now that he's cutting down to 170, shows that he's more serious about winning fights, because he wasn't cutting weight to make. He was talking about how he would wake up on fight day at 187 and then just like get in the sauna for an hour, and then he would just get on the scale and he'd be at like 183 and a half. I mean, he wasn't even cutting weight. So now that he's going to be, bigger than most people, that speed and power that he has in his hands is terrifying, man. And he's a hard guy to fight, dude. If Kevin Holland isn't getting in your head, then you got some Zen shit going on. You got some like Buddhist monk fucking mental training going on, because this guy is talking shit constantly. So, I just think it's a tough matchup, dude. The 170-pound Kevin Holland, I can't wait for every fight. I just hope he fights more, and we get to see more of this guy, because he's very interesting. Anthony saying, first time catching you live. I appreciate you being here, man. I appreciate the donation. It means so much. The kind words, everything. Valentina by headbutt. Yeah, I know, dude. I know. I saw the headbutt. I did see that part of the fight, and that was rough. So let me see here. We got, for Christ's sake, moron. Okay. All right. And let's see here. And then B saying, I'm on the eastern side of things, but I'm just about to hit the hay. Just wanted to say, hey, B, what's up, dude? Good to see you, man. Oi, not Ola. Josh Benedict saying, Wells versus Court is an interesting fight. Marquez inside the distance prop. Yeah, man. Wells versus Court is a very interesting fight. Love that fight. We're going to see where Jeremiah Wells is at. He's super exciting, super explosive, got a lot of power. And to fight, a 19-fight UFC veteran like Court McGee, it's going to be interesting to see where he's at. And that Marquez inside the distance prop, I got the finish only prop, where if it goes to decision, I just get my money back. Because I just think if there's going to be a finish, it's going to be on that Marquez side. But I do think Rodriguez is live for a submission. John saying hello. What's up, Johnny Numoto? Good to see you in here. Prince of Mischief saying, I'm trying not to do parlays. Me too, kind of. But what's a good bet to pair with Umar Nurmagomedov? Dude, I don't know. I'm not giving you any Bellator bets. Sarukian, maybe. Sarukian's a god. Maybe Shavkat. Yeah, Tyson Nam just pulled out of the Ulan Bekov fight. Jinyu Fry. Yeah, I would do either Shavkat or Sarukian. Probably Sarukian. Sarukian is just so good, dude. So good. Anthony Pensero saying, Izzy versus Cannonier. I'm all over Izzy there. I don't think Izzy ever loses, but I want him to. He's been so boring to watch. Yeah, I mean, I think so too. And, I think he's just a better, faster kickboxer. And, Izzy's smart. He's worth laying juice on most of the time, because he's not trying to put himself into situations where he's going to be uncomfortable. And Cannonier doesn't wrestle. And Izzy's going to be faster than him. So I think he probably just pieces him up from the outside, wins a decision. But that's the way I'm looking at that one. Cam James saying, chill, Pib. Yeah, he's just a troll. Jesse saying, have a good night, Weezy and chat. Catch you guys next time. Thanks for hanging out, Jesse. Appreciate you. Prem Tro saying, heard Cerrone is out of shape. Yeah, filming a movie in Thailand. I just need to check out that Lozon KO in the first round. Yeah, dude, that's a really good one, man. Because that's God damn it. The Lozon KO prop, this is how the guy gets it done. I mean, he finishes fights early. So it's a very good spot, man. And then we've got Keith Offenlock saying, yeah, of course. Cameron James, do you think that Kattar fight is going to be a volume versus power matchup? Or do you think Kattar? Oh, I think Kattar can absolutely finish Emmett. Dude, Kattar has got bricks for hands. And if he lands one of those 1-2s right down the middle, you're going down. And then when you watch Calvin Kattar's finishes, dude, when that dude smells blood, he goes full Tasmanian devil, man, and just absolutely swarms. So, yes, I absolutely think that Calvin Kattar is I'm actually picking him to finish the fight. Andy's saying, do you stream while you watch the fights and just hang out? That would be pretty cool. I do that on Pub Sports Radio. We do the live stream watch along every week with Boston Nick, Danny Betts, Mills, Liam picks fights. Sometimes Clint's there, sometimes Brady's there, Billy Briz. Always a good group of guys watching the fights, talking about our bets. Always a fun way to do it, Anthony. You can check that out on Pub Sports Radio. Mr. B saying, Weezy, I just got back from AEW tonight. Were you ever a fan of pro wrestling? Favorite pro wrestler? Dude, I was when I was a kid. Loved pro wrestling when I was a kid, man. Loved the Von Erichs. Loved, oh my God, dude. I mean, I just used to, one of my favorite wrestlers was Cowboy Bob Orton. He used to wear the fake cast into the ring, and then the ref would get knocked out, and he'd pull the foreign object out of the cast and then like cut his opponent and then get the cheap win. It was always fun, but I loved watching the Von Erichs. I loved watching like the Road Warriors on Channel 26 here in Chicago. Oh man, I even went to a couple of events as a kid. But and as soon as I got older, I started playing a lot more sports, and just you just I got out of it. But yeah, I mean, I thoroughly used to enjoy the shit out of it, Mr. B. Weezy, is Sean Strickland a live dog? Absolutely, I think so. I don't like the fact that we haven't seen Strickland wrestle, but I think what you just have to keep in mind here is that Pereira is an elite kickboxer, and Sean Strickland is an elite MMA fighter. And Sean Strickland has fought great kickboxers and really kind of made them look silly from a distance. Uriah Hall, for instance, is a very, very high-level, dangerous kickboxer. And Strickland, I mean, just neutered him for 5 rounds. Hall looked confused. He didn't know what to do in there. So I'm probably going to be betting Sean Strickland just based on we got a mixed martial arts artist over here and we got a kickboxer over here. Yeah, he beat Adesanya in a kickboxing match. That's great. What's he going to look like when a black belt like Strickland is taking him down? I think he's going to look like shit. I think Strickland can easily sub him. And I wouldn't even be surprised if Strickland's boxing gave Pereira problems. So I think Strickland is a very live dog. Those are the kind of spots at a pick'em where Strickland's the better grappler. He's more experienced. He's fought the way better brand of competition. He's a better finisher even. He's not a better finisher than Pereira in the stand-up, but I mean, come on the mat for sure. So he's better everywhere except for in the kickboxing, but that's just such a small part of what a mixed martial arts fight is all about. Kyle Hoffman saying, I think Cowboy is more washed than Lozon. Lozon is always training. Yes, he is. He's got his own gym, and I think he has the advantage here. Yeah, dude, I'm putting Lozon in my cash lineup for DraftKings. And Cowboy pulling out a lot of the things that have been coming out of Cowboy's mouth. You can't be one foot in the door in this sport. So, and I think that he's checked out completely. Mushroom saying, Uncle Weezy, is picking fight doesn't go to decision in both ladies' fights being punishable by orange bag beating. Let's have a look. Why don't we look? And then I gotta go. DePaula, 15 of their 27 combined fights for DePaula and Oliveira finished inside the distance. So that's 55%. At the UFC level, though, it's only 1 out of 5. But you're getting plus 250, which is a 28.57 implied probability, 1.5% better than the divisional finish rate of 30.14%. So that's good. I don't think either one of them are any good, Oliveira or DePaula. So would I be shocked if – and DePaula's quit in the past. So I don't think it's a bad bet because it's a big plus money bet, And then Jasdavicius and Silva, 16 of their 26 combined pro fights have finished inside the distance. And at the UFC level, in a very small sample size, only 0 out of 2. Nobody's finishing Kay Hansen, though, to be fair, for Jasdavicius. And then it's Silva's debut. But, plus 200, 7% better than the divisional finish rate of 40%. We're only paying 33% here. But I mean, Jasdovicius, not much of a finisher. 3 of 7 in her wins. Silva, definitely a finisher in her wins, but who's she finishing? And Silva's been finished, in more than half of her losses. No, I think that at plus money, they're both worth maybe a sprinkle. If your read is telling you that you think it does finish, I won't be betting it, but I would bet the fight doesn't go, I think, before I bet the fight goes, because I think that these are low-level fights, and they do finish more times than you would think. Yeah, I know if there's people that love Dr. Pepper and Mr. Pibb, I think that stuff is disgusting, man. I don't touch it. Keep it cool saying the Pub Sports live stream companion is lit. MMA locker room goes bananas for the chat. Yeah, he does, man. I have a good time in there. Cameron James saying Sean Strickland going to take a big L. UFC match him to lose. Yeah, if he stands in front of Pereira, man, yikes, dude. It'll be interesting because we haven't seen Sean wrestle. So, and Sean strikes me as the kind of cat that would be like, fuck it, I'm not going to wrestle. I think I can beat this guy standing up, which would put him in a very precarious situation against somebody like Pereira, who, I mean, that dude hits dudes and they don't wake up for 10 minutes. So, yeah. And Strickland's just crazy enough to just box with this guy. Will I be doing Contender Series breakdowns? No, I will not. I think Brady might be doing some stuff. We might be doing some stuff on the MMA Engine YouTube channel. The problem is, you guys, I'm doing content 6 days a week. I start the week on Sunday with Stat Diggers. On Monday, I do a main event breakdown on the MMA Engine YouTube channel, and I do a Balls Deep breakdown at night on the MMA Engine YouTube channel. On Tuesday, I do Just the Tip for 2 hours. On Wednesday, I do the DraftKings DFS show on Pub Sports Radio for an hour, and then I do Ask Weezy for over an hour. On Thursday, I do Probability. Friday's my 1 day off, and then on Saturday, I'm doing the Best Bet live stream with Brady on his channel, and I'm doing the Pub Sports Radio. So to add any more content to this at this point would be absolutely insane, and the level of the content would just go down because I wouldn't be able to research it. Just another 5 fights for me to research every week. So I would suggest you go to Narco Cop, Liam Picks Fights. Those 2 cats did some fantastic work with the Contender Series last year, and I know that there are going to be other people doing work. John Kelly has done some really good stuff, I think. Yeah, there's guys that are going to be out there researching the shit out of it that you should listen to more than me, because I don't have the bandwidth to do it at this point. But I'll be watching that shit, and I'll be going live every Tuesday for Just the Tip after the Contender Series is over. So can't wait for that. That's why I do Just the Tip at 10 o'clock Central Time on Tuesdays, just because I started doing it when the last Contender Series was live, and I wanted to have people to have something to watch after the Contender Series. So that's when we're doing Just the Tip, just like we always do, Tuesday nights, 10 o'clock. Cam saying really very interesting. Mushroom saying he's on Strickland as well. I haven't made the bet yet, but I think I might bet it, but would I be surprised if Pereira just slept him with a left hook and Strickland didn't wake up for a month? No. Pereira's live to knock anybody out, but Strickland for the win, yes. Pereira's the new Giga, the pretty new toy, and you forget about old reliable. Yep. Boy, and we learned in that Kattar fight, right? Darren Cheska saying a lot of people pick against Strickland because of feelings. Yeah, man, we can't let feelings get in the way of making good bets. That's for sure, Darren. Good call. Prince of Mischief saying, I heard Strickland got a ton of money for the car accident, and now he doesn't rely on UFC money anymore. He doesn't have the mental strain of making 30K. Yeah, and that dude loves to fight. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he'd fight for free, because Sean Strickland is that guy. Lars Bogelin Jesperson saying Cowboy looks old and tired in his interviews. Yes, sir. I could not agree more. I'm with you, Lars. Anthony Pensero saying Poatan is my favorite fighter after I found out he KO'd Izzy. Got my full attention and hope it happens again. Can't wait for 276. It'd be great if they got to fight again. And if he beats Strickland, they might make that fight because, the guy that's knocked out Izzy, he beat him twice. I think he knocked him out at least once. That, the guy whose Twitter handle is Adesanya's daddy. The UFC wants to make that fight. And I think that the easiest path, not that it's going to be an easy win against Sean Strickland, but with Sean Strickland, you know you're getting an opponent for Poatan who's going to stand in front of him and just box with him. He's not going to grapple him. He's not going to wrestle him. They don't want to give him that type of an opponent because I think they want that Strickland, or I'm sorry, the Pereira Adesanya rematch. The best, busiest stat man. Smash the like, guys. I appreciate you, B. Prince of Mischief saying, I'm waiting for Strickland by decision to come out. That's a good call. B saying, good night, Weezy Nation. Let's drop a like on the way out. Let's make money. Let's do it. Kai Eric saying, Cowboy cutting the 155 at this stage in his career is crazy. And he got sick the last time he did it a month ago. So, yeah, it is. And Prince of Mischief saying, thank you, Weezy, for lending us your time. Let's stack tickets. Let's go. And oh, wow, Adesanya's daddy. I had no idea. That's hilarious. Yes, that's what he did, man. So, yep. Hey, I'm gonna head out, you guys. I haven't even eaten yet tonight. So I appreciate all you guys for coming out to hang out here on Ask Weezy. Almost 50 of you guys hanging out live in here talking fights with me. I appreciate the donations. Appreciate all the watchers. Appreciate the thumbs up, the subscriptions. Check me out tomorrow night. I'll be on DFS by the Numbers channel at 6 o'clock Central Time for Best Bet. We're going to give our best bet on all 14 fights on the UFC Austin card. An hour after that, we'll be going live on the MMA Engine YouTube channel for Probability, 7:15 Central Time. We're going to give you a data-driven look at all the fights on this card and find the beautiful spots that can help us make money on time props, over and under 1.5s, over under 2.5s. Fight goes, fight doesn't go. Let's let the data and our eyes guide us in order to make the best possible time prop bets. Join us for Probability on Thursday. And then the only order of business left would be to stack cash tickets like flapjacks for UFC Austin. Thank you guys for hanging out, and I'll see you tomorrow on DFS by the Numbers channel and on the MMA Engine YouTube channel. Good night, everybody.